us too, are you?
Yup.
You're not even gonna talk to us?
Nope.
You should be ashamed of yourself, humiliating your sister and me like that. We don't want to talk to any of y'all right now, so take your little gossip column and your embarrassing photographs and just go away!
Hello everyone, I'm Keen947, aka Wolfkeen, and welcome to another edition of my My Little Pony Vlogs for Season 2. Today, I am talking about Ponyville Confidential, written by M.A. Larson. Best Writer strikes again, because, okay, I'm going to say this right now, this episode's pretty divided within the fandom, at least within the analyst community. I know that there is a good chunk of the analysts that don't like this episode, like Toon Critic, Buck, Brony, and a couple of others that I don't remember at the moment. But there are others who also like this episode, as shown by Golden Fox, Voice of Reason, and other people like that. So, where do I stand on this spectrum of, do I think this episode is good, or do I think this episode is bad? Honestly, I love this episode, because it introduces a lot of concepts that I really feel like were necessary for the show in many cases. Not to mention that it did something right with the Cutie Mark Crusaders. So let's get into it. The episode starts with basically the Cutie Mark Crusaders talking about this one pony who just got his Cutie Mark called Featherweight, which, take a look at this pony, guys. Okay, two things here. One, holy crap, it's the Peter Parker version, it's the Peter Parker pony. I mean, seriously, he has the same hairstyle as Peter Parker, he's just as scrawny as Peter Parker, and he even uses a camera throughout the rest of this episode like Peter Parker. And second, give that pony a cheeseburger or something, like, good lord, like, nobody should be that skinny, like, they say being too fat is unhealthy, well, being that skinny is being unhealthy. I know, way out there, but whatever. So basically, the CMCs are at the point of giving up, or at least Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo is. Then Apple Bloom has this idea of helping them get their cutie marks. But before she could tell them, she has to go off. So Scootaloo and Sweetie Belle try to figure out what Apple Bloom was trying to come up with, and they try doing various random crap, just like in Cutie Pox, try to get their cutie marks. This is where I was, when I first saw this episode, when I saw this part, I was like, oh no, it's going to be another one of those obsessing over our cutie marks thing. I really thought that's the route it was going to go. But no. Apple Bloom's plan was not that. When they finally go to Apple Bloom, of course, she laughs in their face because of all the random crap they tried to do, and then told them that we should write for the paper. You know, she gave them a paper called the Full Free Press, which is a school newspaper, and she said we should write for it and get our cutie marks in journalism. So they decide to join the Full Free Press, where we find out that, Cheerly is not the runner of the Full Free Press. She only runs it as an advisor, while the editor-in-chief is the one who actually does all of the, you know, the actual work within the Full Free Press. And apparently there's a new editor-in-chief, which is
Diamond Tiara?
I know what a lot of people are about to say. Oh no, Diamond Tiara's here! Abandon the episode! Abandon the... Let me say something real quick, guys. This is the best Diamond Tiara appearance in a long time. Let me explain it. Diamond Tiara in earlier episodes has only been shown to be just like a stereotypical bully in many cases. In this episode, we get more of an idea of what she is like, especially when she has a large group working under her thumb. She pretty much treats the Full Free Press in the entirety of this episode almost like a corporate office in many cases. Like, you know, like a corporate facility in many cases. Everyone has their job, she wants certain aspects, she expects certain things, and she wants, you know, like, a lot out of this system that she's a part of. So, I think this is one of the best Diamond Tiara, you know, like, appearances, because we actually get more into her character in this episode than we do with the stereotypical bully aspect. I mean, because in this episode, she's not really a bully. She's just like, you know, like the everyday corporate manager in many cases. But she gives a good spin on the corporate manager idea. So, of course, the CMCs think about backing out at this point because of Diamond Tiara being editor-in-chief, but Sweetie Belle then brings it out like, if we are truly to be journalists, shouldn't we at least give a little effort? Okay, I know what everyone's about to say, yes, but they're giving effort in the wrong area. But at least they're learning. Can we at least say that? At least they're learning. They're not trying to do random crap within 10 seconds and then stopping. At least they're actually showing dedication in this episode to this one thing. Like, if it doesn't work, they can just back out. They're showing at least some dedication instead of being like, 10 seconds, oh, I didn't get my cutie mark, I'm out of here. So we see the CMCs try to come up with a couple of, like, news stories and yada, yada, yada. And, it really does not go very well for them either way. They end up ending up in embarrassing situations. And when they do get back to Diamond Tiara with the story that they got, she doesn't like any of it. So she tells them to try to find something else. So then we get to see where Sweetie Belle hears Snips and Stales for some reason, and they are stuck to each other with gum. Suspension of disbelief. So Sweetie Belle basically has this situation like Featherweight take a picture of that of this situation, and this ends up becoming a thing on a newspaper, like a popular thing on a newspaper. And the Cutie Mark Crusaders end up coming up with a name for themselves that Diamond Tiara actually liked, Gabby Gums. I like this name because it's very, like, reminiscent of what that is in many cases. They basically couldn't put all their names in, so they came up with an alias for all three of them, which is, of course, Gabby Gums, which I think was a good idea. So they're told that they won't be doing news anymore, they will be doing gossip columns. Though, of course, when they try to come up with more gossip, it doesn't go very well. And they're like, well, we're screwed. So then we move on to basically Rarity in her boutique, where she trips over Sweetie Belle's bag, and then she sees the newspaper from the Full Free Press, and she decides to take it from Sweetie Belle's bag. When she reads it, she pretty much sees the article of Snips and Stales getting stuck together by gum. Of course, when Sweetie Belle finds out that Rarity dug in her bag and took out the newspaper, went into her belongings, she gets a little upset at Rarity. But Rarity explains that this is actually pretty good. I like this. I'm pretty sure my friends would like to see this. And this gives Sweetie Belle an idea. Okay, guys, I think we can all agree right here. Sweetie Belle is the idea pony of the group. Because every single time she gets an idea, it's half and half what happens. Either it's going to go really well or really badly. Reminds me of myself in many cases, but I digress. So she decides to take the gossip idea all around Ponyville, gathering gossip from different ponies all over the place. So she gathers gossip on, like, the mayor, gathers gossip on the cakes, gathers gossip on all these different ponies, basically just going into their personal lives in many cases. So we move on to the main six, talking about the Gabby Gums columns. Where, they were talking about the Gabby Gums columns. Twilight is talking about how this rumors and stuff like that is not exactly a good thing. Like, I can't help, she can't help but feel bad for the ponies' lives that Gabby Gums is possibly ruining. And it does lead to a couple of interesting things. Like, at one point, Rainbow tries to have a hoofa cure, and she refuses and says, I would love Gabby Gums to do a column on me. That actually plays a role later. That's why I talked about it. So then we move back to the Cutie Mark Crusaders, where they have a column on Spike, where he talked to, Gabby Gums openly, but Diamond Tiara did not like this. Said that it was a namby-pamby story, and said that they better get something else. This is one of the things I do like about this episode. The Cutie Mark Crusaders show that this is not, like, they're starting to feel bad about this. Like, they're, like, even Sweetie Belle say, like, are you feeling the same way about me about this? And they kind of hope that they could write lighter stories instead of writing harsh gossip all the time. I know a lot of people try to say, but they keep going with this. Yes, but they know what they're doing is wrong. But the thing is that they really want to get their cutie marks. Sometimes it's, and plus they're a kid. Think about it. When you want something, when you want to find out what makes you special so badly, you're willing to do whatever it takes, even if it hurts someone. Like, it's bad, but you want to figure out what makes you special. That's a hard thing to pick. Like, do you go with your moralities, or do you want to find out what makes you special? This is done in a later season episode, but I'll get into that when I get into it. So the CMCs decide to continue with the gossip, and this time they've moved on to the main six, where Applejack got, like Applejack, Big Mac, Fluttershy, Twilight, Rainbow Dash, and hell, even Rarity. At first, Rarity's like, oh, I'm pretty sure the ponies deserved it, and yada, yada, yada. And then, of course, well, she sees herself in the column.
So she tweaks a few ponies every now and then. Maybe they deserve... I'll destroy her!
And then they have the idea of speaking to Sweetie Belle. Well, at least telling Rarity to speak to Sweetie Belle about, this. Maybe she knows who Gabby Gums is. So basically what happens is that Rarity tries to defend Sweetie Belle, saying that she would not be associated with a pony like this. But then when she checks Sweetie Belle's bag, she sees her diary in there. Yes, Gabby Gums printed Rarity's diary on the newspaper. And that's when Rarity, puts two and two together and figures out that Gabby Gums is, of course, Sweetie Belle, or at least the CMCs. And here's where we get another interesting scene. Rarity does not berate Sweetie Belle. She talks to her on a neutral level, tells her what she's doing is wrong. And hell, Sweetie Belle knew that it was wrong. She even said it, like, we know that what we were doing is wrong, but we really want our cutie mark so badly. And then Rarity says, do you really think your destiny is to make other ponies feel bad about themselves? Get me, like, and, Sweetie Belle actually comes to the conclusion, no. And then the CMCs decide to quit the full free press. But, of course, Diamond Tiara won't let them. But, of course, the CMCs say, you can't make us do this any longer. But Diamond Tiara begs to differ by basically saying if they don't, if they don't continue writing the Gabby Gums columns, she's going to expose these embarrassing pictures of themselves on the newspaper. So basically, Diamond Tiara has them in a death grip. Because here's the thing. If they don't write another embarrassing column, they're going to get embarrassed. And I think it's going to get worse. I know a lot of people will be like, but then Diamond Tiara won't have anything on them. What's worse? Think about it. What's worse? Think about it. If you wrote embarrassing stories and then an embarrassing story of yourself was brought out, it would be a lot worse in many cases. So the CMCs decided to go looking around for stories, but every pony in Ponyville know about the CMCs being Gabby Gums. So much so that they're being punished relentlessly. I know a lot of people want to say, oh, that's unfair that they're punishing them like that. Not really. Considering the extents that they went to with the gossip, it's pretty warranted. You know how, there are those rare situations where a teenager is tried as an adult, or a kid is tried as an adult because of a massive mistake, a massive thing they did? That's what the CMCs are going through. They're being punished as adults because of the severity of what they've done. So pretty much we go through them trying to talk with every pony. And then they decide we gotta find a way to fix this. But we also gotta find a way to prevent Diamond Tiara from writing that article. So the next day, Diamond Tiara's about to print the article, and the CMC stop her right at the nick of time and say they have a new Gabby Gums column. She decides to print the column, and the column was basically an open letter apology to Ponyville. Basically stating that we knew that the gossip was wrong, that we knew that it was hurtful, but we kept going anyways because we felt like that it was our destiny. And, begging, Ponyville for their forgiveness. Basically saying, we really can't say much else, but I hope that you will forgive us and that you will understand. So after this column is wrote out, Shirley pretty much takes Diamond Tiara off as editor-in-chief, and then the new editor-in-chief is brought in, Featherweight. And pretty much we get a joke at the end where Diamond Tiara falls into the, the printing press, and she gets covered in oil, in ink, I believe that is. And that's Ponyville Confidential. Still a pretty good episode. Ponyville Confidential, if you ask my honest opinion, is a really good episode in many aspects because this is one of the few times we see the CMCs actually focusing on a job. Normally with the CMCs, we see them trying to do a bunch of random crap at once, and it never really goes anywhere, unfortunately. This time we actually have the CMCs actually doing one task and staying to this one task. And I actually like that because you're not going to find out what makes you special or what your special talent is if you only tried for 10 seconds. You have to put effort into it. And that's what they were doing in this episode. They were putting effort into being journalists in many cases. Another thing I liked is that the concepts that they brought. Like I said, I feel like Diamond Tiara was written at her best here. And this was probably one of the better Diamond Tiara appearances that I've seen. Not to mention, I like some of the humor that they had in this episode. Fluttershy conveyed a lot of emotion in this episode, and she doesn't even have a line. That's the funny thing. She doesn't even have a line and she conveyed a good amount of emotion. It definitely had a good amount of setting. Like, the setting was good for this episode. Story structure was pretty good. I had no problem with the pacing. And I definitely liked the concepts that they brought up in this episode. So, overall, Ponyville Confidential, I still think this is one of the best episodes of Season 2. And that's just being brutally honest. So, guys, until next time, I'm Keydown47, a.k.a. Wolfkeen. Hope you enjoyed. And until next time, guys, take care.